What's up YouTube, it's the one and only Legend of Winning, aka Low, and I'm back again with another video. Now there are several players in the NBA today. There are great players, poor players, average players, and so on and so forth. And a lot of these players get the acclaim and the recognition that they rightly deserve. And actually there's some players that don't receive the recognition that they deserve, and they're listed as underrated players. But in today's video, we're not going to be talking about those players. We're going to be talking about the players that receive probably a tad bit more credit and recognition than they probably do deserve. Now I already know in this video I'm going to offend some people. And quite honestly, I really don't even care. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. This is my opinion, and I do want to be very clear about that. And so because of that, if you feel like you disagree with me, please leave a comment in the comment section below. And also I'll probably have a poll going on in the description so you can kind of, vote and determine who you believe is the most overrated player in the NBA as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, Steph Curry is a special type of overrated player. The type of overrated player that has plagued a lot of people's careers, such as Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, just to name a few, and that's the in-the-moment type of overrated.
The MVP. The two-time MVP. We're talking about Steph fucking Curry. Not only can he shoot the three ball, but he can drive it to the hoop and be acrobatic, do it with contact. He's won 2 MVPs, dude's a lights out shooter. The guy who led his team to the championship last year and this year to the finals.
Is Stephen Curry a great ball player? Yes, he is. Is he the greatest shooter of all time? Yes, he is. Did he lead his team to 73-9, a record that has never been matched before and actually surpassed the greatest record in NBA history that the Chicago Bulls had a few decades ago? Yes, he did. But that does not thus mean that all of a sudden his name should be put into comparisons with some great players such as LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Isaiah Thomas. Being a prisoner in the moment doesn't aid the process of us comparing and talking about Stephen Curry in historical context, because people tend to hyperreact and overanalyze what Curry does on the court as if they've never seen a great player before. And again, this isn't even Curry's fault. He is, again, a phenomenal player. He does things that have never been done before, but let's please not act as if LeBron James isn't in the league anymore. Literally throughout the whole entire season, people continuously said that Stephen Curry was a better player than LeBron James, which is just factually incorrect. We all know LeBron James does way more than what Stephen Curry does on a basketball court, and what he brings in his individual talent to a team is a tad bit more than what Curry does for that Golden State Warrior team as well. Also, did he lead his team to the 73-9 record that surpassed the Chicago Bulls? Yes, he did. But that doesn't mean that he should immediately be compared to Michael Jordan. They're completely different players that played in 2 different generations and decades, and they shouldn't be compared simply because Stephen Curry had 1 solid year. Even when you look at Stephen Curry's first 7 years compared to Michael Jordan's first 7 years, it's not even close. And it's crazy that people determine greatness solely based off of what they've recently seen. But even if you want to look at Stephen Curry's best year, which is the year that just passed, yes, that was by far one of the most efficient shooting that we've ever seen. Michael Jordan had several years that actually match up, if not surpass, Curry's best year in the league. On top of that, people will sit there and say that Stephen Curry has an NBA record for the most 3-pointers made in an NBA season, which again is phenomenal, and it was great watching him play basketball like that at a high level for a whole NBA year. But again, people have records. It's not like he's the first person to own an NBA record. If that's the case, then players like Isaiah Thomas and John Stockton should be easily arguable against Stephen Curry, because they also too own records, or had owned records at one point in time in their career as well. Back in 84-85 season, Isaiah Thomas led the league and also set an NBA record for the most assists in an NBA season. Later on after that, John Stockton took that and continued to push it to another level that has yet to be broken or anybody to even come close since he's been in the NBA. So again, people, let's not overreact. I understand that Curry is a great ball player, and I'm not trying to take nothing away from him. I actually believe that he should have been a unanimous MVP. But again, Curry's a great player, but let's not overreact and hyperanalyze everything that he does. Now last year, Rondo led the league in assists. He gets a lot of rebounds for his position, and a lot of people just flat out believe that he's one of the best point guards because, simply put, he can get a triple-double almost anytime he pleases to. Now even though majority of that is true, he is a great passer, he does rebound really well for his size and his position, but people tend to over-exaggerate how great of a player he is simply because they just look at the box score or the stat sheet and they come to the conclusion that because he puts up great numbers, thus makes him a great player. Now this right here is one of the most oldest type of overrated players, the stat sheet stuffer.
Rondo led the league in assists. Rondo, that guy's a pure point guard. How he's overrated just because he doesn't like to shoot the ball much or score the ball. That's not his first option. Did you know he led the league in assists? Did you know that? Maybe you didn't know that. Someone tell him. You can't lead the league in assists and be overrated. That just doesn't go together. That doesn't make sense.
Yes, Rondo led the league in assists last year, but it's not really all that impressive when you actually take the time out and look at how he got his assists. A good handful of his assists simply came off of fast breaks because he had really athletic bigs that were able to outrun the other team and get easy looks. And if he was running offense in a half-court setting, he would literally slow down the pace almost to a screeching halt, call a play while he stood at the top of the key and just waited for shooters to come off-ball screens so he can kick them the ball and hope that they wouldn't make the shot. Now again, I'm not trying to take nothing away from him, but that's literally the most simplest way to run offense. I mean, seriously, he stands at the top of the key and prays to God that Marco Bellinelli makes a shot coming off the screen as if this is 1987 and offenses don't have any type of advancements put into them. The next thing people will talk about Rondo is that he actually became a better three-point shooter, which again is kind of true, but if you further look into it, he just became a better three-point shooter from the corners and actually not at the top of the key. On top of that, Rondo was one of the worst catch and shoot players in the league, along with one of the worst pull-up jump shooting players in the league as well. And actually, when you look at the gameplay and look at how some teams defend Rondo, again, when it comes to spacing, it's terrible. There's multiple times where DeMarcus Cousins will get the ball on the other side of the court, or he'll get the ball at the high or low post. The defender that was guarding Rondo would literally just leave him wide open to go give help for DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus would pass the ball. Eventually, the ball would get rotated around to Rondo, and instead of taking a wide open three, he would either turn the ball over or try to make something else happen, even though the three-point shot was by far the best look that the team had at the time. And when it comes to defense, there's no need for me to break this down because Rondo has openly admitted that he hasn't been trying on defense for a few years now, which is mind-blowing to me to say the least. But the biggest knock against Rondo and the reason why he isn't a top 10 or top 15 point guard in the league is because a lot of people just flat out claim that he's selfish. And to be completely honest with you, you can see it in the style of play, not only in Sacramento, but of course in Dallas when he flat out quit on the team. Oh yeah, and also with the cherry on top, Rondo is a terrible free throw shooter. How can a playmaker as great as Rondo be that bad at free throw shooting? It's crazy. You can't even have him in at the end of the game because they'll just hack him and put him on the line, and odds are he's going to miss the shot. Now this right here goes out to all of my NBA fans and all the people who get in constant arguments with Chicago Bulls or Derrick Rose fans who sit there and try to make a legitimate argument that Derrick Rose isn't as good as they make them out to be.
The previous MVP, Derrick Rose, not only did he win an MVP, but he had to endure many season-ending injuries. You're talking about the MVP. The MVP Derrick Rose is overrated. You're out of your fucking mind. Like, they weren't even building around him last year. They disrespected Derrick Rose. Did you forget he was an MVP?
For a real quick second though, I need everybody to do something for me. Do a huge solid for me. If you're looking at a desktop and you're looking at a computer screen when you're watching this video, look at the very bottom right hand corner. At the very bottom. And I need you to really recognize something. Do you see it? Please tell me you see it because it's very key. It's 2016. 2016. It's not 2010, 2011 when Derrick Rose won the MVP. We are literally 5 years removed from that year. It's crazy how people keep saying that, oh my God, he was a former MVP. Stop disrespecting him. Yes, I get it. He was a former MVP, but in today's NBA, he's not nowhere near the same level that he once was before. And on top of that, even if he played at that high level that he once played at back in his MVP season, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be as dominant as he was back then. In today's NBA, three-point shooting is a huge and very pivotal part in offensive strategies, and it has changed quite dramatically over the past 4 to 5 years. Back when Derrick Rose won his MVP, the league leader in three-pointers attempted was the Orlando Magic, and they averaged roughly around 24 three-pointers a game. In today's NBA, the average team puts up around 25 three-pointers a game. So the league leader back when Derrick Rose won the MVP is literally below average in today's NBA, and it's crazy because again, Derrick Rose isn't that efficient from the three-point line. Not only that, teams have adjusted to playing to over-athletic point guards such as Russell Westbrook. So again, even if Derrick Rose came back and played at the MVP level, it's not necessarily clear that he's going to be as efficient as dominant because again, the way that Russell Westbrook plays doesn't necessarily convert to W's as much as it probably should. And on top of that, you can make a huge argument that Russell Westbrook last year is probably better than Derrick Rose and where he was in 2010, 2011. This is another argument that people have against Derrick Rose in favor of him and claiming that he is quote-unquote an elite point guard. He's going to be at an elite level because he potentially could be healthy, or the team could potentially actually build around him, or this year is their year. It's literally the funniest thing in the world because at this point, Derrick Rose's career is basically a Mike Krzyzewski's video. What if Derrick Rose stays healthy? What if Derrick Rose puts a three-point shot to his game? By this logic, you can sit here and say that the Lakers should be a playoff team and probably one of the best NBA teams in the league right now, because what if Brandon Ingram comes in and he has the greatest rookie season of all time? You see how crazy that sounds? Like seriously, you see how crazy that sounds? So again, Derrick Rose is a pretty solid player even when he was healthy towards the end of the season this year, but again, people have to stop overreacting and acting as if like I'm disrespecting Derrick Rose because he was a former MVP. And if you want to live in hypotheticals, then go watch Nick Smith or Mike Krzyzewski's video, because odds are you won't see Derrick Rose playing at an MVP level in the NBA. Now don't get me wrong, James Harden does put a lot of points on the board, but let's be honest, that's not the only aspect of basketball. And the same people who will claim that James Harden is a top 5 player are the exact same people who go down a box score and see who scored the most points to determine who was the best player on the team. Which makes James Harden one of the more original, overrated type of players, which are the high volume, low field goal percentage, but puts up a whole bunch of points on the board type of overrated players.
Harden is a phenomenal scorer. That guy is amongst the top in the league at fucking scoring. Harden is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Because when I watch the top 10 plays, I see Harden on that bitch every single time.
So is James Harden a great scorer? To a degree, yes. I mean, there are a few things that he can add into his arsenal to make him less predictable than he is. I mean, outside of shooting a 3, a step back, and doing that stupid Euro step that he does in the lane that literally every defender falls for. Or he does a Euro step in the lane hoping that the referee is blind and calls a foul out of nowhere so he can get to the free throw line and get a few shots in. But again, he's still a great scorer. But outside of that, what exactly does James Harden do? We all know that James Harden isn't that great of a defender. He literally falls asleep on backdoor cuts all the time. Also, James Harden literally set the record for the most turnovers in an NBA season, which again, it's blowing my mind that nobody ever brings that up in conversation, but he literally turned the ball over more times than anybody else in NBA history. And on top of that, in the beginning of the season, for whatever reason, he just wasn't trying that hard and was accused of quitting on Kevin McHale, which ended up losing Kevin McHale's job at the Houston Rockets. And even when he does score, there's some times where he'll just come down the court and then jack up a 3 that's completely out of the rhythm of the offense. So again, when I say he's not a top 5 player, I legitimately mean it. I'd rather have LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Paul George, just to name a few players before James Harden. But hey, if you like high scoring players who turn the ball over a lot and don't play defense, then James Harden is your man.
Missed it again. Oh my goodness, come on now. You cannot get backdoored again. I mean, no ball pressure, you're not guarding your guy, and this is kind of getting embarrassing.
And with that being said, people, those are the 4 most overrated players in the NBA in my opinion. Please let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. Also, I will probably open up a poll so you can voice your opinion as well on overrated players, and you can put on who do you believe is the most overrated player in the NBA as well. I really don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to try my hardest to do so. And with one poll opening up, another one will close, and that means that the Scottie Pippen close is coming to a conclusion. And now it's time for me to give you the results. Drum roll, please. And with a whopping 90 votes, 43% of y'all believe that Scottie Pippen is a top 30 player. 29% of y'all believe that Scottie Pippen is a top 50 player. 20% believe that Scottie Pippen is a top 20 player. After that, there are 5% who believe that Scottie Pippen wasn't even in the top 50. And also, crazy enough, that there were 7 people who voted Scottie Pippen in the top 10 players of all time. which is just amazing to me that people would even believe that. But that's actually the reason why I made this video, because I do believe that Scottie Pippen is a tad bit overrated every now and then, but you know, it is what it is. But thank you all for watching the video. Also, special shout out to Call Me Agent Zero. He was a guy that was hyping up everything in the middle of the transition, so shout out to him as well. Go check out his channel, and also please subscribe if you like the video so you can be updated when I upload. Also follow me on Twitter as well as on Discord. That right there is by far the best way that you can get in touch with me if you want to communicate back and forth about NBA or about a few things that I said in my videos or some questions. The comment section and YouTube and the whole YouTube system with comments, it's kind of, you know, it's not the best system in the world. Sometimes people will reply to a comment that happened literally 2 months ago, and when I try to go look it up in my most recent comment sections, it doesn't pop up. So it's kind of hard for me to reply or at least see everything that's going on. So if you do have a Discord chat or you are part of Discord, please, you know, go into the Discord chat and you will find me there along with Call Me Agent Zero, Waffle Man, D Brown, Shinheim, and hopefully we can get Nick Smith involved as well. But for sure, it'll be us four in there. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace.